Good evening, free enterprise fans, and welcome to another 99%ers Club where the rules don't matter, everything's made up because everything changes every week. And we have no idea what changes. My name's Deja. I'm joined on the mic tonight with Deathlike. How are we doing tonight, Death?
Doing all right. I just all I know is I've lost a Z hour. That's how I measure my time in Z time. So if I don't know what's happened, it's because I've lost a Z. That's what it is.
No, I mean, that makes sense. And yeah, happy daylight savings time for those of us here who are in the States. And that might be a worldwide thing. I have no idea. Anyway, so yeah, we have a 99%ers Club, and we have Dave and Lord Goober both racing the seed. Uh, this is interesting. We were talking about all the different changes and everything else that's going on. And it's just okay. Uh, some of the racers were already complaining because they see the objectives and they see, more importantly, win for the crystal, not win game, and they were a little bit upset.
It's a thing to see because in this club, if you didn't win, you get it's kind of like a crowd control, except the runners control. So you did this, you guys did this. No, all you wonderful runners, you did it. So because it's like, I think if I'm to interpret it correctly, every change requested is kind of like 1 point increase weighting of a thing, or probably so it kind of adjusted plus or minus one depending on what you wanted or what you don't want. And over time, so the more people want this, hey, you're gonna likely get this, and kind of vice versa. So it's cut. So because not enough people want a win, well, you didn't get a win. Where I'm sorry, the seed's been rolled. It happens. Sorry.
Well, I mean, we have really kind of an interesting set of objectives here today. All of them are a little bit buried. We have one boss hunt, 5 others. I mean, what? Nothing really jumps out up to us so far of these flag sets, and we don't even know half of really the knowledge that we need really to get rolling here. But Rose to start, that's at least nice to know.
Yeah, that means trip to Zot probably is in the cards. Of course, we won't know if she is the hero of the sea till some testing happens. But hey, it's a good start. Sid, wonderful starting character, and hey, you see those 99s? Yeah, it's a theme. It's a thing.
Leather, crystal, and succubus. Crystal gauntlet. So yeah, we're gonna sell a whole lot of stuff. Get not insignificant amounts of money if there's something easy available in the shops there.
Yeah. So I think one of the common objectives from these seeds, Lower Babel, is keyless tower. Yeah. Someone's mentioned that. Yeah. It's a thing, because for reasons beyond my understanding, it is 30 times more likely than any regular objective. So you voted for it. Yeah, we're doing keyless tower. More. That's actually not too bad. But hey, we've already gotten Nafu, so yeah, the seed's already blessed.
An edge and a foo in free character slots. I want to play this seed. This is a lot of power very early on. This is fantastic to see.
At least no Demon's Hunt, but early crystals. I mean, it's early Darkness crystals, which means hey, another free character, and can we speed this up? This seed isn't going fast enough. We now, I mean, then I'm sure we're gonna get a quick hook or a quick magma key just to go with it all.
Oh, and Goober checks the free key item, gets the free key item, and by the way, it's immediate darkness crystal. So, in addition to these characters that we're going to get for free, oh my gosh, we're already having the darkness crystal, early access to the moon. What is this even?
I mean, we do have at least we do have one objective on the moon. It's the short. It's the at least the kind of the shortest LST check for the Merzame altar. So that's a good thing. But in the in this cave, what do we need? Second white mage? Probably we already have food. Porn. Maybe may eat porn. It doesn't matter. It's already kind of a blessed seed in the elven bow. So that's if we really want to use Rosa offensively, or ideally the murder child, preferred murder child, that is a favorite of mine.
I mean, everything is set up really pretty well. We even have life securities. Okay, so yeah, it's just a really kind of a blessed seed to start with. We have all the power we could possibly want or need for early, mid, and late game already. Early Darkness Crystal, which we do have, you said, the one objective that is on the moon. But so far, this has just been fantastic. Still a little bit of exploration in terms of where everything else is. But I'm liking these. These are some very different early game routes than I think we see in many other clubs.
Yeah, I think we're also from the shops. I think we're using standard. I mean, wild is kind of in the mix, but it's heavily favored towards standard, which I'd like to say is standard. How about that? I don't. I mean, when I've seen like shop S Pro on, I kind of hate my shopping list at that point. It's because it's always usually typically S Pro being one tier lower, but shops on the overworld are when under S standard is typically tier 4, which gets you a decent amount of power. It's not like power overwhelming, but it'll gets you kind of where you need to go for the most part.
Yeah, our tracker sheep launcher is speculating in the chat. What kind of quality of loot are we seeing? Is it T Pro, T Wildish, or what's going on? Yeah, it looks T Wildish when we see some of the chests that Lord Goober is opening up. There's certainly some decent gear in the shops as well. I would say that's probably S. That's S standard probably.
It's a good indicator of loot when you, especially in Lord Goober's looting. Usually, where there, it's kind of a small percentage of tier 6 items. At least it's fairly large, and it's feeling T Wildish. But I'm almost wondering if it's T Wild. I mean, again, it's runner oriented. They wanted this. This is what you get, and the probabilities are rolled one way or the other. It's not, the loot feels more T Wild or worst case T Pro. Especially even T Pro for this area isn't too shabby, but it's kind of like muted a bit. It's not as generous.
Okay, Dave makes an interesting decision, opts to get rid of his Sid, which is, we're still kind of in the early game where we're relying on equipment, and Sid doesn't have, or Sid has levels compared to most of the rest of the party, but I guess you're not all that worried about how your early game if you have an edge as well. So, I get it.
I feel for maybe in NGJ's case, I mean, you have a lot of reasonably powerful characters like Edge and Fu, so even if Rosa is if we're under C Hero, which we still haven't quite determined yet, yeah, then Ninja's tier 5, so it could be, might be probably T Wildish. I'm thinking it could be just not, it doesn't, no need for angering if you're assuming C Hero's on. Just if you're power overwhelming, you almost don't care about agility anchoring. You still need to care about it for critical fights, but it's not as threatening. And hey, turtle in a nice spot.
Yep, and according to Xenocat here, looks Dave did try to get rid. So yeah, it does appear to be Sea Hero Rosa. That's going to make, like you mentioned, it's going to make anchoring a little bit different right at the moment. But hey, Ice 1 for Fu. Sure, we'll take that.
Well,
Easy win.
it's not Tella, so it's, I mean,
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it's but I mean, not like I mean, C Nikki isn't on, so Tella has reasonable power. By default, he's I mean, he's statistically twice as powerful in terms of spell power, in both wisdom and willpower than stock Tella. So I mean, I've seen Tella do it. It's fine, but when Fu does it, it's wonderful.
Okay, so Goober going to be the first one really to get this turned in. Oh, dupes are turned on.
I mean, who needs Quake Kid when you have double the Fu? I mean, like, why do you need levels for Quake when you just need to kill more bosses to get Quake or Nuke or Rocks? Because those are better options. So I almost though I'm strangely enough I would have probably rid of Porm though. favorite girl, but can't. It's almost but Palm. Okay, I could. It's fine. It's like, yeah. If we get third Fu at this point, it's gonna be a different seed.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain we're leaning heavy into this magic party right here. We do know that it is Chris, or it's not win game, it's win crystal. So we're gonna have to face Zeromus, but this seed is pretty well guiding us exactly how they want us to beat Zeromus, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we don't even have to check the character on the moon. I mean, when the characters are free, you have kind of a lot of free spots. I mean, you got Ordeals, you've got Damsian, you've got Mysidia with the double dose. I mean, there's kind of have your pick of whatever party you want to build, and especially with characters not restricted. Especially with the generous double Fu. I mean, it's hard to build a weak party. It really is. It's too darn difficult. It's strange, but you still have to get the fights in. Might even take a side fight at the Mist Cave or the waterfall just to get the extra boss fights in. Sometimes if you really need the spells, like the spells that Fu learns are not your fancy. You might just go to do Zot 1 just to get a decent spell in, if that is even the case.
All right, so Dave does finish up that football defense, and I got to imagine with this much power early on in the game, we're still sub 10 minutes. Nice power, sure. I guess Edge is going to be swinging hard for a bit.
Yeah, I think that we've seen at least a long in the ninja. I mean, that's more than enough to carry Edge for most of it. I mean, obviously it'd be nice having the upper tier, but if you have second, like a pair of ninja swords, you're pretty much set for the rest of the seed, and you can just let Edge do things. But I see second Edge and orbs, the evil orbs. But this is a tame spot because they have very little HP, so it will take one flame to wipe them out, which is the nicest thing you could ever see. Quick orb deaths.
How friendly has this seed been? Rosa Hero is a pretty solid start anyway, but then back up Hero Rosa with 2 edges and 2 Fus. And you don't even need the second edge. You can have another Palom, or you can have a Porum if you want some extra White Mage support. It's like, however you want to build your seed or your team for maximum power, it's available to you pretty early.
I just had this is this even moment. Stock default Tela climbing up ordeals, and hey, Demas, we didn't have to hunt for you this seed. How wonderful! But still a nuisance. And Porm goes down. A possum doesn't. Possum is cheering somewhere. I don't know, and it shouldn't be too long that Demist is disappeared. It's yeah, that was short.
Well, we got the Darkness Crystal from Edward anyway, so Demas, I mean, okay, just another boss at this point in time. Not gonna have a key item there.
So this is interesting decision by Lord Goober, picking up the second edge. I always find that to be a little risky, only in the sense that if you don't have all the Hansa Steel dropping into your lap, it becomes like you're carrying a second character that is is not going to be used to his fullest potential. So it's not the worst thing. It's just sometimes there are reasons why, like having double edge sounds like, hey, even more offense, but then you don't get enough Hansa Steel, and you're like, so I only have edge and a half. So it happens, and hey, leg.
Yep, so leg, strong magic attack here in this spot, so that glare is going to do quite a bit of damage, but our Fu's no white now, so things are going to... It's like Nuke, only maybe a little bit longer cast time, so it's fine.
Why does Porum die on the next screen? Why? She did nothing. Why the glare? Must be evil eye for the leg guy. That's what it is. That's I mean, when Fu has like strong magic like white, I mean, he has a delay, but it's just stronger than whatever is available so far. I mean, it can make life a lot easier. So white is still a good option when you have no other decent spell on the table. So except there are a few holy elemental bosses that would kind of laugh at that spell.
Hey, there's the tower key that is up on Mount Ordeals, so we know we're going to be going to Lower Babel at some point anyway. Makes sense.
Oh, this how quaint. The D-Lunars we're hunting for, hey, they're here too. I mean, there's this seed I guess decided to be a super jet seed. We have somewhere to go, Zeno. This is going too fast. Can we make is this played?
Some of us, we're making up for our lost hour by just shaving an hour off of our free enterprise time. It's the only way we can make sure to fit everything in. So, yeah, we got to go fast.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we don't even. I mean, we don't even need Tele this seed, and we're doing Mount Ordeals. That's how. That's how much the seed is going. I mean, you have two foods. It's like Tele becomes overly redundant. So anytime, there's up to a point when you especially have dupe characters and powerful characters that some characters, don't get the kind of TLC that you would normally give them. They're just like, sorry, I have better character. Please wave the tower. We'll see you. Next seed. it makes me think that maybe they're looking. I think our runners may be hoping for a magma sea to turn up because they'll probably trivialize the hook route with the foo, but you know, if we can like get a magma key drop, that would be from one of our key item locations. That would probably be a lot, it will hold lots of value. But I think everyone has done each and every starting key item location pickup so far.
All right, some new information. Dave showing us the Porum up on the moon.
I love
Not
Porum.
that, yeah, not that we're gonna use her.
I mean, I love Porum, but do Porum on like this late, kind of it feels late, even though it's kind of early in the seed. But you know, when you've already found the Palom and then I've already eaten it, I'm like, there's no second Porum is like I like second Porum if you have like only one Porum and that's nice. Like, two Porums is fine, but we've already have two foos, so it's yeah, that's not happening. It's and the silk webs obviously a good buy. You know, there are some bosses where you know their agility is so high that you do kind of want to slow them down a bit, especially Z for as that is still a thing because there was a chance that you know doing a seed with a Z-less fight is on the table, but it doesn't have to happen. But you know, didn't roll that way.
So one thing that we know about so far, and I think this is based on the objectives that people did, is that K-Trap is turned off. Is that right? So we're not avoiding doing things like Castle Evelyn right at the moment, just because there's just nothing in there that we can need. No chance of K-Trap. All right, thank you, Sheep Watcher.
I mean, there is always there. I mean, you know, in terms of the YAML, there's always a chance. But if it doesn't roll, it doesn't roll. It's fine. It's all it. There, I mean, there are some flags are definitely not touched at all. Like I don't like permadeath is not even on the table. But there's certain things that are definitely on the table, and yeah, K-Trap. I think you know people just kind of just keep increasing. It's like you know, if I need to figure out an analogy for it, but there are things where you know when things don't roll, then you know the chances of it increases. Well, that's what happens, and yeah, it's +1 dart, but inventory boss Clay has shown up because it can, and when you're looting, you forget that hey, there's still plenty of junk in your inventory.
In the meantime, it looks like we've pretty well figured out that our path into the underground is going to be through that hook. I mean, we certainly have enough power. 2 foos, 2 edges, 2 porums, even if we want them. But Hero Rosa, so lots and lots of power available early on to get us through this hook seed. Just got to get a few bits of equipment for edge here. Not that you need a whole lot to get through to the underground with Foo at the moment.
I mean, Edge is self-sufficient. If you if you find like drain spears for sale and then you just buy a stack of them, it's usually good enough. I mean, they're usually affordable, but also all all that Dart cares about is the attack power of the weapon. Accuracy, no one cares. It doesn't matter because throw is perfect unless the boss is invincible. There are few invincible phases you'll commonly see. Usually we're talking about early Golbez or the early part of during the Z fight, like the early stage, like a little even after the transformation is like a small window where Z is still invincible. So those, but other than that, those are kind of ways of getting Edge kind of online without even acquiring weapons for Edge. So I don't. At least for one Edge is probably sufficient. But maybe NG Dave is probably going to use the second Edge as the the dart guy.
Okay. So, yeah, Dave is picking up his hovercraft now on his way into the underworld. This should be fine at this point. Oh, Fu learned Meteor on Dave's side. Yep, there it is. So, yeah, he's set. Plus, he knows Quake and Virus. Oh, yeah. That Fu is fully locked and loaded.
Probably not really incentivized to do like the Castle Evelyn kind of looting. You have kind of all the power you need. Like Fu, for all he is, I mean, when you have the spells, you don't really need equipment, and and his like base equipment is already pretty good. So you pretty much can just keep going. You just can kind of move on and not worry about equipment. And when you stop all the equipment, that's cool, but you have most of your power will be on the double Fu. So kind of equipment really kind of not less valued, as there are more kind of spellcasters, or at least competent spellcasters like Fu, that kind of have all the utility you really need.
It's interesting because you were mentioning just a second ago that double Edge is a little bit more difficult to play around, just because you do need double the weapons for him to really get going online. I agree with you on that pace. I hate having double Edge, but both of our runners have actually opted to go with the double Edge, double Fu setup with their hero Rosa. So that's a little bit interesting when you take a look at all the options that we've had available, with Porums and Palums also available, that both runners are deciding to just stick with that large jump in power there.
Yeah, usually, this is why they're commonly restricted in larger like league flag sets. Just they just hold a lot of power. They're instant power as it is. Like this, even the stock Edge can get you through anything on the overworld, let alone the Fu that has that. We in Free Enterprise he's kind of neutered initially, but will regain every spell after every boss fight. 3 spells per boss fight completed. So that's which although just a note that we haven't found the alt gauntlet yet, but the whole or even the regular gauntlet, where you have to complete the whole series to be considered a boss fight completed. I think there's also similar things, like I think Dr. Luga has literally two fights, so that's again, it's still not boss complete until both phases are kind of completed, and those. So it's for Fu. Fu needs a little work, but usually you can get by with a lot of the base Fu spells that he gets. Not very rarely where a Fu is not equipped to kind of be effective at any given point.
So this is interesting. Plague is not necessarily an easy fight here, and it doesn't matter what your party setup is. You just have to have a certain amount of damage output, unless you're gonna cheese the fight in some capacity. Uh, but Dave just made. Oh, was that the first fight?
Yeah, it's the first fight.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's super tame. I mean, this spot is very punchy, but Plague doesn't punch, so Plague is kind of disappeared quickly before counting down. Not a pretty simple fight, and hey, even easier. We've got Dark Imps, so which will actually punch reasonably hard, so but can be easily crippled by Afu.
Well, in those coffins that we bought earlier, that makes things easy, doesn't it?
I mean, we could probably perform the life glitch if we really wanted to. It's like, it's fine. These Dark Imps, it's fine. When you have access to J items, you have kind of a lot of increased amount of tools. Like, I mean, the J items, I mean, for those of you who've only played the US version, you know, they're kind of a really strong toolkit for the early game, and have some key items for the end game, particularly in the form of sirens, or there a lot of the stuff that when we talk about gated items, we're talking about like hourglasses, sirens, Bacchus one, you know, the things that kind of make your end game very much more manageable, and the and you'll find T5 items starting in any underground shop, the Baron locked weapons and armor shop, and the moon shop, and also the Eblin shop, which also typically has up to 2 tier 5 items, and which usually are pretty coveted by any racer that runs any seed. I mean, you sometimes you just go for that shop just to see what kind of power you can possibly get for the rest of the seed.
Interesting that Dave decided he was going to go underground immediately, and he is underground now. Goober actually is opting to do the Eblin chests first. Now, we know K-Trap is also, this isn't going to be a key item, but it is going to at least, it might be a pretty decent item or weapon. Maybe a sign that Goober just is trying to find a couple pieces of gear, maybe trying to get a couple more levels on his hero, just in case.
Edge space level is pretty strong for the most part, so I mean, although unfortunately that Edge didn't actually kill off the Black Cat, which is unfortunate. Bluster kind of well, it's 50-50, allegedly 50-50, but it always feels like it's death incoming when you fail to kill a Black Cat. That's the harsh reality. I mean, the other 50% is paralysis, but every single time I've attempted Fate, it feels like almost always instant death, and it happens. And it's probably not the hugest loss, as usually there's not enough initial experience to get Edge that many levels. It's more impactful for like base level characters like Rosa, who like start at level 10 and need the levels for their spells to kind of be more impactful.
Now I think we see the real reason that Goober was doing this setup. He was sneaking and stealing Bacchus wines from these mad ogres.
It's free, technically free when you steal it. That's the only. There's still a chance that it backfires, but given the situation where they're kind of neutralized, I mean, stealing is nice. Would have been nice to keep the platform for lowering their levels to make Edge's life easier, but you know what? It's free Bacchus wine, especially sometimes there are seeds where it's just not offered in a shop. So this is especially with having two edges. I mean, they'll be probably drinking it up anyways, and we find Blarg at the weirdest of spots, but kind of tickled our characters. That's nice.
Yeah, that was a counter for his opening. Only hit 3 of the enemies. This is a fantastic spot for Wyvern, first of all, because the magic attack is so low here at the top of tower that it's a slow spot. You can get a bunch of nukes off. You don't have to worry about his scripts really start kicking in for a while. Even when they do, they're going to roll kind of low. Plus, you can blow through it really quick. It's probably one of the best spots in the game for Wyvern to show up.
So some information about counter. It's the same thing that when you see from the antlion, but I think it's the sword rats you might have seen, but you probably usually don't have an alt gauntlet for them. Usually, it's the same attack, and the one characteristic about the spell is that regardless of the spell power, it is always 1. The multiplier is always 1, so that's why the foos get untouched. Low level edges don't have any magic evasion multipliers. Rosa probably didn't have enough multipliers to evade. She probably has like at least 1, but probably with the equipment, the starting equipment that usually for Rosa isn't worth talking about. So she didn't evade it. So, but ultimately the spells the attack that the antlion uses is really harmless when you have the evasion, but also it scales based on the attack power of the boss. The problem is it's that spot not very harmful. That's why it tickled.
So there's the Baron key though from the tower key turn in. So 2 objectives are done. We know that we can now liberate Baron Castle. Technically, we have the ability to at least see who the king of the town of monsters is, and we have access to defeat Vanilla Marasame. For whatever reason, unless we are 6 of 6 for the crystal, we're in go mode now on Engidave's side at 35 minutes.
It's a breeze when the seed provides. That's what it amounts to. And Enjidave, I think, is hoping for a dart or some reasonable source of ninja blades. 1 full moon sounds like enough. No need for Heaven Robe. Just one thing to mention. We know that Rosa is the hero of the seed, even though we allow dupes. There is the seed. I think dupes are allowed on the seed. The thing is, I think it's impossible to have a second Rosa because of that. So that's kind of an artifact of the Sea Hero flag. So yeah, a hero robe was referenced. So I think there's no reason to actually buy it. Yeah, I mean, yes, I would love to see Rosa shooting all the things, but that also affects the agility, and there are times, especially when she's the hero, you really do not want a hero robe, a fast Rosa making your life miserable, because the faster bosses make your slower characters, like the foos, which barely gain any speed. They don't gain any speed till even level 70, so they're never going to be faster than Rosa. That's making Rosa go super fast makes them go super slow. So kind of bad. It's a bad interaction all down the road.
That was a little bit of a root spot there for Ogopogo, but certainly this party can handle it.
That's a bump in the road. It was just a no. That's normally this boss terrorizes a lot of spots, but the Baigan spot, especially with the foods that exist, not a threat. And this DKC not long for this world, also not really gonna threaten anything, especially with the foos in turn.
And instead of even waiting out the script for the Dark Knight Cecil, yeah, we're just gonna nuke it. We got places to be.
Again, another boss in a very tame spot. See that Dark Wave scales with attack power and attack multipliers. But this spot doesn't really punch very hard. Do we need to see Sultan? No. Have we found any burr? Probably not. No, not interested. Sorry. Yeah, NG Dave. Yeah, I agree. No need for a paladin when you already have edges.
Well, I mean, we do have a defense sword, so it's something. I don't know what our equipment is on Edge, but by the time we get to Z levels, that Cecil might be useful.
But we could just dart the defense sword. Defense sword, like, I think oftentimes we associate Cecil, if he doesn't have the right burr, like Excal or Crystal, or maybe even Avenger, the Cecil is like essentially a Kane at that point. And that doesn't mean Kane is bad. It just means
look. He's a Kane who can auto cover a party full of people who can't wear heavy armor from the back row. So if we get something nasty like an Antlion or an Octomom there to cover the Villa Muras altar, and that's something that we have to do in order to clear our objectives, like, yeah, back row Cecil could absolutely help us out in one of those situations. Yeah, I know that's about it. I'm a Cecil fanboy. I know it's it's okay.
It's fine. I even get the justification. I'm like, you have foos. Foos already solve any sort of problem. You can blink the whole party and not worry. I mean, you have 3 white mages. That's more than your daily diet.
Okay, so Sheep Launcher informing us going through the number of objectives that should matter. So, chance of so there's 0 chance of 4 objectives being required. So even if we only have to conquer the Murrow, we still have to do at least the King of Baron. There's only a 10% chance though of 5 objectives, so it is looking very likely that we are still on the hunt for that pan, which explains why Dave is currently doing Dwarf Castle. He otherwise would be in go mode and would know he's in go mode if he knew the math of 4 and 5 right now. So knowing that it's a pretty good likelihood that it's going to be all 6 required, he's still going to be making these efficiency checks here doing Dwarf Castle.
Well, I mean, K-Summon and K-Moon are also on the table, so the key items for what he's still looking for, which is effectively the pan, it comes a kind of a difficult proposition. It'd be easier just to do the objectives and hope that the key item required just shows up. Like, I mean, doing Mount deals for the D-Lunars, Mount deals no real reason, but you want to power up Fu, you're already there. The D-Looters just happen to be just a stumbling block. It's kind of a small road bump. That's it. So I mean, right now the Fus are gonna speed up the seat immensely. So there's kind of like you can do a lot of completionist things because you already have all the power you really need for the seat.
All right, so Goober now making his way into the underground. We'll see if he follows the same line with just landing immediately and doing the tower, just because you have to defeat the lower boss of battle anyway, plus you get the tower key right there so you can clear it full out. There's the adamant on warp.
But we've got the pan. That was the thing. That was the thing we needed. He's in
Oh,
actual go mode.
oh,
He's got to do everything now. It's done. It's a done deal. So now we just have to go off our objective checklist. So probably next thing to do is the king at Fey March for at this point. We have access to everything. So nothing stopping NG Dave other than nasty boss at the king spot.
and they just found sirens. They both found sirens in Tamra. So it's even if we're a little bit short on levels for our edges and Rose, it's like, nah, no, we're not. We can get that real quick right at the moment. So yeah, we're set up. We absolutely had someplace to be, I guess.
It's daylight savings time. That's what it is, because we need to recover that hour that we've lost somehow. Because with the power of magic or something, law, something, whatever. Looks like NGD's found a source of darts. So that's you have two edges. You gotta throw something. Let's give Edge a bone or something. I do want to know what a music therapist is, though.
I believe it's using music to explore psychology and therapy, I think. And anyway. They prescribe Xeno's harp renditions. Slow clap, cheek launcher. I see you there.
I mean, they do say that music can calm the soul. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, gentle harp music can be wondrous. Although there are some tunes that are fast-paced and a lot of high energy tunes. So there's it can only mean many different things. We Stardust. Hey.
Stardust and Bacchus wines, like back to back. Like, what else? What else do we need? Oh, by the way, we have sorcerer's robes if our foos didn't already need them. Oh my! This seed, this is one of those seeds where you're like, why can't I be running when these seeds come up? Everything is just gifted to these runners.
I mean, it's not quite supermarket sweep, but when you start with all the crystal gauntlets that only a paladin can use, who was also yeeted in the middle of the seed. I mean, yeah, you've been granted everything that you've wanted for the most part, which it's a nice seed. It's a generous seed when all those things come together. It looks like Lord Guba is looking for trap chests, maybe still looking for Hanzo Steel, because though at this point should be considering just finding the strongest dart, buying a bunch of it, because plenty of money to throw around just for that.
All right, so going in a little bit underleveled for this king fight. You do have the foos, but otherwise you only are, in the mid-30s. So this could be a rough fight depending on what it ends up being right now. But NG is setting up. So it looks like... Oh. This is... Bah! Bah, I say!
This is very free for Reval. So the king spot is super punchy, which would be a threat, except the only time the boss punches is if Bylon is dead, or Mylon decides to actually punch, which is kind of a rare thing to actually get to in the script. So. And all Bylon likes to do is counter with lit ones, which kind of, it's a really weak spell, but it also it's just combined with a very weak spell power. At this spot, the Leviathan at this normally at this spot doesn't really have significantly high enough magic power, so the Ice 2s you'd normally get is kind of similar of a threat, but Lightning 1 and the same replacing Ice 2 is not the same threat. And with all the Sorcerer Robes being handed around like candy, the Mylon is not a threat. See that damage? Yeah, that doesn't tickle it. That's a tickle.
Between the nukes and the zerked up edges, this is going to be relatively straightforward. My goodness. So, yeah, we really had some place to be. Both Lord Goober and Edgy are taking on this particular fight. I think Dave is at slightly higher levels. Only slightly. Because Rose is at 999 and 1034 for Dave. So, they're about the same, honestly, in terms of leveling. Goober does have a few more things that he needs to do, though. He still has to climb and do the boss on Lower Babel, and then that will give him the Baron Key once he completes the Tower Key, and that will also allow him to liberate Baron Castle. And oh, by the way, why not Hanzo Steel? Just gift wrapped everything for you. I'm salty. I'm sorry.
You don't get these generous seeds, the generous jetty seeds that just fall into our runners' laps. You know what you should be playing? More lit 3 seeds. That's where the real fun begins. But no salt there, because I actually enjoy those. And then there's the special seed where those need a lot more attention than the average seed. These seeds would be it's kind of like a good change of pace considering what you can see on average.
Yeah, this is just me playing too many potion party seeds and trying to minimize how much looting I'm doing low power stuff. You need to come over here to 99%ers, clearly. And oh, by the way, just casually, if you want to go turn in for your hero weapon, it just happens to show up along the way if you want it, Dave.
Yeah, so yeah, we have Forge. There's no reason to do Forge, especially, I mean, the thing about Forge, I think, from the flag set, it's actually a 50. It favors the specialized supersmith by default, but I think it can be overwritten to an Excal because you want an Excal all the time, right? No. Yeah, so it's like it's an interesting. It's a supersmith. That's guarantees. Okay, that's cool. Because I thought there's some flags combinations sometimes I don't know the exact combinations. So, okay, so guaranteed supersmith, but we know it's a Rosa thing, which either is strong arrows or kind of a stat stick bow handle. So which is just like essentially like a staff. So that's is kind of not the most exciting thing that Rosa gets, but I mean, in a longer seed, then it could be more interesting. But NG Day doesn't need this power. I mean, again, 2 foos, 2 edges. Your seed is gonna solve itself.
Yeah, and they picked up a stack of sirens, so I think on his way to the moon, going to go do the Vanilla Myrrh altar. I mean, he might just take the altar at current levels and then level up after that. Turning in the pan right now for that objective. But it is all we have to do is conquer the Vanilla Myrrh altar. We do not have the pass, so going to the moon, staying up there, probably doing a bit of a grind on his way to the save point.
I mean, here's obligatory rat tail, which you no concerns turning that in, but an apple because what? Sure. That was a little disappointing, but then again, when you're already in gun mode, all the other free items you get, not not as interesting. I think Dave is shopping for something. There aren't too many bosses that are gonna hold a runners up left. I think Golbus is still on the table, or an alt gauntlet, and that's about the only things that will actually slow down a runners. It won't either one will still be pretty trivial, but they will still slow down a runners at least reasonable enough that well, at least give them pause.
Well, I got to imagine at this point Dave was searching for a cursed ring. Wasn't looking into any of the weapon shops or item shops. And the only piece of gear that really we need at this point from the item shops would be, I got to imagine, that cursed ring. So, but Dave says, okay, I guess it's not going to be here. YOLO.
It's fine. I think, especially with this power, like when you're essentially power overwhelming, and cursed ring is really just icing on the cake. It's like, I mean, definitely if for other characters, especially like if it was like an edge hero or something, you would see there might be more of an incentive to slow down the hero, just because you want a good anchoring situation. So the ideal anchoring situation is literally being significantly slower than your boss and significantly slower than all the the characters that you have in the party. So when we think of slow characters, we're talking about Tella or Sid, and to some degree Fu, because his agility is literally static for the bulk of his existence. So there are and obviously base characters, but we're not really substituting any characters. We just want when we see hero means that our Rosa will always be picking up XP, so she'll always be gaining levels, and she will always be gaining more agility. So it's nice to have, but with so much power, this is the seed.
Free, everything's free.
Maybe you want to put in your 99% request for the next seed. Maybe, I don't know. I think runners that don't win do get the power of controlling their destiny, or at least increasing the chance of their destiny being rolled a certain way.
This is me calling, because Dave was complaining before this seed that it wasn't a win game seed. So Dave, I love you. You're my tango partner. I'm calling you out though. This seed has been so forgiving. You wanted to be win game and this be already over? Oh my goodness. Dave, this seed has been so good to you.
Maybe next time. The seasons above, most of the places are wrapping up. Most of the clubs are wrapping up. The new league is starting on the 1st, or at least the announcements or whatever. It's on the 1st. So yeah, this month is most of the clubs will be finishing up. I think there's still 2-3 weeks left of this club, so still plenty opportunity to get to roll a win game. So no worries there. I think I was here for the last which club was it? And I think it was I was like the last one, and we rolled the best combination of flags. So it's just a matter of time. Yes, Zeno's correct. Many mysteries.
All right. Well, Dave is done. He is on his way down. I got to imagine he's looking at, he could be looking at the clock and thinking he'll have to do Fu and Friends instead of doing the full, grind up to fully take this out. Fu and Friends can be tricky with this agility, so I would probably play it safe, get some levels. It'd be interesting to see what Dave ends up deciding to do. If he stops here oh no, he's going. Okay.
I mean, Food and Friends. I don't know what the HP levels of both Edges and Rosa, but if it's as long as it's above 1200, Food and Friends. I mean, you get it's more like two Foos and Friends, which is probably maybe safer to have a few levels. But I think they have over. I think everyone's over 1200 HP, so this is relatively safe. We have enough Foos. We have the opportunity to do things. Food and Friends really popular because the nature of how nerfing Big Bang works. But I think we're it's at that moment where these flags should be showing up because it's that time. It's not although so it's always at that time for. It's usually at time that it's also the letter of the alphabet that shows up, 26th because it's only 26. I don't know why. It just happens that way. Vitasia, do you want to explain this to everyone?
Oh, sure. Why? I appreciate it. I don't have much time, so I have to get this up. So, what do the Z flags mean in chat? So, we're a randomizer club. We're in the Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. We like to randomize things. We randomize the songs. We randomize, where the location enemies are. The one thing we can't randomize is Zeromus putting him into the enemy pool because he works out so weird, and having Big Bangs in Antline would be a really bad idea. So, what do we do when we want to randomize everything in this game? Well, there are more than 600 sprites available when you use the crystal on Zeromus to transform him to show his final form when he shows his true colors. So the question that chat asks is, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight as his true colors emerge? And there's sometimes some extra questions, like, is the butt cute? Does the butt have a hat? Is the hat cute? And, this is an interesting sprite.
I feel like it's kind of semi-recognizable. I don't know if this is from. I feel like it's almost like one of the it's like almost like an FF1 sprite, but it's not. I don't think.
You're kind of saying it's from Utopia. Okay, I was going to suggest it's from. It looks like almost an ActRaiser sprite, but Utopia. Okay.
So for NG Dave, so you would think you'd be wondering. So you have Nuke. So why did NG Dave use white instead? And the simple reason is white actually has a delay. I mean, Nuke is the popular spell, stronger spell, faster cast. The reason why white is used is it has a long enough delay so that they will guarantee that the partial invincibility phase of Z will not affect it. So if it would use Nuke, it might kind of disappear because Z hasn't removed the invincibility off of itself, so as part of the first thing it does. So that is Dave is clever enough to kind of take advantage of that fact.
Okay, here's the problem. There's the Big Bang that goes off before Rosa can get off that Cure 3. So one of the food dies and she whiffs. That is not something you necessarily want to see. But that's why we have Edges, who, instead of zerking up, he is darting and then otherwise throwing life pots around.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but one of the Foos took the brunt of the counter nuke. But the most important part of the Foo and Friends stack is effectively reflecting spells. One of the kind of features or bugs, whichever you would prefer, one would prefer to call it, of Final Fantasy IV is reflecting spells doesn't trigger a counter. One of the counters Zeromus does is when it hits certain HP threshold, it does a kind of a full refill. This is in order to kind of increase Zeromus's effective HP pool, as it is normally capped by a 16-bit number. It's kind of 65,000 or so. Although Z has, I think, set like 62,000 or so. But anyways, just. But anyways, in order to kind of increase the pool, the secret healing counter happens. But since we're avoiding the counter, it effectively reduces the Z's effective HP by half, and that's the major benefit. And only no, it looks like the nerf didn't go through, and the food with having superior magic evasion survive, which is unfortunate. So we'll probably see a few more new casts as that is the quickest way of getting Z down.
Yeah, and herein lies the problem. We have another quick shake, so there's that big bang. I don't know if Dave's gonna get through this one.
Well, LeFou's the one that got the healing should survive, and yes, it does. I think the issue indirectly is that what didn't get a chance. I don't think there's a Silk Web thrown, because that typically in a Z fight when you're using spells, you want to usually kind of slow down the battle speed. In Free Enterprise, the default battle speed is 1. Vanilla FF2, FF4. The battle speed is 3, and that allows some reasonable amount of time to get spells buffered without being penalized for being not as quick as one would want. So this is this should be fine, and try to. But wow, be lucky.
Yeah, magic. But this foo's gonna die from HP. HP ran out. This is, yeah, he's in kind of a rough spot right now. We do remember that he did try to get a Silk Web off once, because he cast a Silk Web and then had a counter nuke that just hit a Foo, and that kind of is what steamrolled everything else happening in this particular race, because he was recovering. But oh, what a champ! Gets the counter nuke. He was counting. Wow. GG's, Dave.
Yeah, that was a spicy ending. That's how you want to play on. This is the razor's edge of playing with this particular plan. So, sometimes that direct the HP dipped far enough that this didn't trigger a heal, and that's all that really takes. Could have easily gone bad, as Foo's wisdom isn't as hot as one would like.
Oh, and we're joined now by Ninja Dave. Dave, kind of clutching that one out there, huh?
I'm sorry, I'm still a little panicked about the end of it. That last nuke was a win and a prayer. I know it was right around 54, 55. I was like, okay, please let that nuke stay on screen.
See, here I thought you were counting. I made you out to be a mad genius when I was talking about on stream.
No, I was on like 54. I was in the 54, 55 range. So I needed to just not super low roll, and it was good. The problem is I needed the fool with the starter shot to be the one casting that nuke, which is why I threw the life potion.
Yeah, completely saw that. That was that. I mean, he had another choice. I mean, that's that, or you have to reset. So I mean, I can see that you've done enough damage. You just had to gamble that very last moment.
If he low rolls, he low rolls. It's the right play. Just throw it and pray.
So I gotta ask, this whole seed, it felt like a gift from the sky. Like everything that you could possibly want for this seed just fell in your lap. Did it feel the same way when you were doing it?
It did. Which is honestly why I just went for it on Z Fight rather than grinding, because I figured we have some fantastic racers here. You just gotta. That's what I was saying. You just gotta go. And the seed was pushing. You're just go. Don't grind. Don't stop.
I mean, you have the generosities of the foods, the edges, and then getting all the Hanzo steel that you at least had access to with the amount of money you also had access to with the generosity of the starting packet kits. I mean, how could you go slow? It was pushing to go even faster.
Yeah, I thought the only thing it didn't give us was a curse string, which is what I was looking for at the end.
Any temptation to try to pick up that the forge that was just kind of handed to you, by the way, along the way?
It's a Rosa Forge.
Oh yeah,
the forge shop would have been nice, but what am I going to get? Percy's Foe, Percy's Arrows, one of those two. Neither of which I cared about.
Yeah, I was just saying that would have been disappointing. It's like, yeah, strong arrows or a stat stick bow. And I mean your opponent is also picking it up right now, so to speak. Given what's in the seed, I mean, what were you thinking when it, like? I mean, usually the seeds typically roll like, with maybe an optional objective, and this seed you had to do all 6 objectives that were laid down. Like it was interesting because you were just literally because you went dwarf and literally the pan dropped into your lap. So like you were just looking for you were just trying to get everything to kind of count your chickens before you start completing all of them.
The reason I went dwarf there is the likelihood of 5 is very low in the YAML. It's like 3 versus 50 for all. So once 3 didn't hit, the likelihood of pan being required grew greatly. Which is where the dwarf play came from. Also, while I'm thinking about it, because I doubt Goober's going to do it, given where it was.
Oh, you're going to show us what the harp music is?
Yep.
Truly the people's champ right here.
I mean,
it's a treat for everyone, right?
It is, but the funny surprise is that the harp is so weighted so heavily, yet it did not roll at all. Like 30 times more likely, according to the YAML. But like all things, didn't hit.
Well, the Fricker just doesn't care.
That is true, but you still did lower babble. You still got lower babble.
That's a running gag in the club.
I mean, that was only 20 times as likely than everything else, and yet it rolls. So that's who'd thunk that? But
that running gag got started because it randomly hit like 4 or 5 seeds in a row.
There must be something at Dr. Dialogue Spot that everyone must find out what that is.
Today it was a wyvern that countered nothing.
Yeah,
nice.
It's a nice space for a wyvern with that power or lack thereof. So
nice. This is one of yours, Cat.
So, any other thoughts on the seed? I mean, it
was a fun seed overall, Always good to play these kind of mysteries. I'm going to guess that it was T standard, given that I was finding a whole lot of 1s where I shouldn't be finding 1s. I don't know if you got any further evidence on that.
I mean, it was looking pretty strong there for a while. Like, we were thinking it was almost not T Pro, but T Wildish at some point. We have no evidence to know of anything at this point in time, though.
Yeah,
it went too fast for us to get much information because you were already done.
And with 2 Fusoyas, you really don't need to loot much. Like, I was looking for charm rods for them because that's good enough.
Yeah, but I mean, you had at least the money and you had all the power to get what you wanted, so no worries there. Especially with twice the food early. I mean, you don't even need it. You didn't even really need to get anything for Edge outside of throwing material.
Exactly, and that's what the handful of ninja stars were. Of course, the light sword, the dragoon lance I picked up, that was all good darting material too. And you see, they all end up lodged in Zeromus.
Well, and you also yeeted that Cecil, which, you know, I like Cecil as a character, and I was worried there might be something really rough that you could use a back row cover guy. But even the bosses were straightforward.
Given the way the seed was playing out, I don't think Cecil was a choice.
No, it wasn't. I mean, it would have been the wrong choice ultimately.
Just because you have 2 foos, you have 2 you have 2 edges for darting, and I had a decent amount of gear for them. Plus, there's always the specter of vanilla agility.
I mean, you got rolled so many. The bosses you got that were in your way were just being rolled. There's just there was. I mean, it was so generous.
What I was bringing up was the vanilla agility is a possibility in this YAML, and I didn't even want to take the chance of it. Because Cecil can mess with agility setups.
Yeah, no one wants to deal with that, especially when Cecil is normally faster than Rosa, anyways. So that doesn't help the equation.
Well, yeah, Dave, do you have any final thoughts as we get things wrapped up here?
No.
Goober is still going. I just want to
Yeah.
keep you if you want to keep going.
Yeah, I can see that. It looks like Goober's on the path, though.
He is, and it was a pretty quick path. I think he cleared out Castle Evelyn, and other than that, has been jumping around.
Is there anything good out of there?
Not in particular, no.
That lends more credence to the fact that might be standard. In case, I would like to thank you two, Deathlike Invitasia, for doing the comms for this. Sorry, it was a blast with you two. Sheep for pushing all the buttons, and Xenocap for rolling this wonderful seed. I know it's a bit lighter than your other mystery club.
We had
And shout out to Commander Leonhardt. And a big shout out to Commander Leonhardt for running this club. On that note, I am going to head out.
All right, take care, everyone. And you, Dave. Thanks for showing up on the stream.
So speech. And didn't want to go to throw a tomato at the soapbox guy. The TKC doesn't really need a platform, but you could throw a light sword in his face and call it a day, but it's okay. Some kind of few other fun anomalies with the YAML. Rydia has when we roll a seed, obviously it didn't happen this seed, but Rydia has was it double? It's not even double. It's double. It's definitely double. More likely to show up in the seed as a starting character, which is interesting. She's waited to be starting character. It's interesting how that came to be. I assume Rydia fans are enjoying it. If people want to roll, they can. But yeah, that is this one of the things that can happen more often than not in one of these seeds. Not this seed. Rosa being the hero this time.
All right, so Goober on his way up to the moon now. Just the Murasame altar. Done a few more things, so probably slightly higher level. But it will be interesting. No grind set for Goober, at least immediately. We'll see. I mean, he won't need it. We've seen it. And late 30s, so probably, depending on how he fights Z, probably would want to get a few more levels. Although, could go the Dave route as well with, a last second 50 HP nuke and a prayer.
I mean, it doesn't take much in a Z fight to make it go sideways. So there's always sometimes, there's a thought that you want to race, you get there as quickly as possible. Not and try to kind of go with the flow. Hope there's nothing too significant to make things go awry. But there's also that sometimes you need, as a runner, like if you reset at a Z fight, that is a lot of time wasted. So sometimes the safety of gaining levels is a thing, So typically, like with Rosa, you probably want to aim for trying to learn QR4, which I think isn't too far for Rosa. I think at this point, and once you learn QR4, you're pretty usually considered safe enough. The Berserkers don't usually. Not concerned about a specific level. They just gain enough levels to kind of they're fine. It's usually the mages where you need to hit a certain level to access a particular spell. Usually Cure 4 is usually a pretty good baseline. Nuke for Rydia and Palom. So those usually are one of those considerations when you're doing levels. But if you don't consider them critical characters for your final fight. Yeah, as long as they serve a purpose, whether they're floor material or maybe just on potion duty, there's still a value for characters at this stage to do something, even if they're at their optimal level.
Alright, getting a little bit closer here, but once the nukes start flying, this should be pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I think I think it was earlier, when we're talking about eating characters like Porum and Palom, and the thing about Fu is, and kind of equipment in this game, is it's actually harder to get like wisdom stat sticks in the game. Now you're asking, you'd be like, no, why is that? There are literally a lot more kind of will boosts in the game. So if you really think about it, like, yeah, you still have you still have the top tier 6 life staff, Stardust Rod, but you're also the kind of level under that, you have your Charm Rod, but on the White Mage side, you have the access to the Lunar Staff and the Silent Staff, and they also the White Shirt is a tier. Is it tier? I think it's a tier 7 item. That's you can make theoretically make Tella like a competent-ish White Mage. Like you give him like White Robe, Life Staff, and he's pretty much like about this, pretty much like a Fu in equipment through equipment. It's just easier to get more willpower than it is wisdom, and so oftentimes when you see the nuke power Fu, you kind of expect like 5k damage, and that's more or less what you can expect, even if you get it's nice when you get a Stardust Rod, obviously, and that's definitely one in the seed. That multiplier also kind of increases the potential damage output quite a bit. So, but it is just harder to get more Black Mage stat equipment overall. Yeah, White Shirt is tier 7. Yes, correct. So that's right.
You're getting some nice levels just by opening that treasure chest. Now in the mid 40s, we're close to just being able to run right to Z without anything else now. But Lord Goober seems to be set, at least starting the trip down the Winter Subterrane now.
Lord Goober is the beneficiary of having 10 key items, so any fight will be double in XP. And it's always good to have, as it makes the grind, half as painful. And still looting.
Well, picking up a loot and then deciding that, hey, this is a good time to start using sirens, because he did buy mute bells right there. Mute bells on these enemies make things go much easier. Yeah,
the biggest weakness of the warlocks is they if they're not alone, they will keep casting spells to the dawn of time. One kind of a quirk of spells. It's probably not specific to FF4, but FF1 or any it's the rule changed I think in FF5, where spells don't cost MP for the enemies. So you could, the MPs are kind of made up even if they had 0 MP, which it's a fixed value for how much the maximum MP they have. I think it's a 16th of their max HP, so 1/16. So that's and anyways, they basically MPs cost they have magic costs nothing, so they have infinite MP, so they could cast whatever spells they feel like, whenever they feel like, when it's their turn. So that's the only thing you need to worry about is if they're alone, they do a slightly different script. They punch and then they use weak. But that's about the only. But that's that's barely anything to be threatened about by the warlocks.
So it looks like this might be about the last one we're set up at. Everyone's HP is starting to look good. Anytime you're at like 2300, that's probably safe from an unnerfed Big Bang, unless you high roll. So far so good. I think this is going to end up being the end here.
Yeah, and using the life glitch, glitch being that there's kind of an opportunity to use a life, target a life potion on a monster that is dead or going to be dead. And life potion, the algorithm is simple. It's whatever the vitality of the target multiplied by 5, and that's how much HP they will revive with. But since monsters do not have a vitality stat, that number is 0, and if you don't want to do too much math on stream, but 0 times anything is still 0. So the animation appears, and magically a second monster that doesn't actually reappear dies in that spot, allowing for one more killed tallied monster for more XP.
There's some math, but this is, I don't know. I feel like coming to a free enterprise stream and being promised that there'd be no math is like being promised you're going to a Dungeons and Dragons game and being promised there's no math. Like, it might be light, but I think that's a false promise. Like, we do what we can to minimize it.
There will be math on streams once in a blue moon. But 0, it's just a thing. There is some math in not just free enterprise, but just FF4 in general. All you need to know is big numbers, monster disappearing, and that's all I care about.
It's true.
Yeah, this flex. It also does vanilla trap chests, which I mean, if you don't know what the vanilla spots are for treasure chests, there are. I mean, it's not too hard to memorize, but it's easier to kind of remember if you do it. But if you actually do the vanilla, but it also makes where the trap chests are fixed. So Lord Goober knowing that where the trap chests are, picks it's on the way, and also needing XP. So this is especially the warlock carrier trap chests are pretty tame. Very susceptible to stone. It's a nice spell to get rid of them. Although I am told that some people don't like how the low chance of stone happens to be. It's like what, 35 accuracy. So it's not nothing. I think we're talking about. Group was trying to look for free XP, but found Val. So sorry. The ribbon room spot with the 2 treasure chests has the biggest gain of XP, but when you see Val, it's like maybe not today. So I guess that's a good question. So if you were running this race, Vitasia, what flags would you want to toggle for the next seed?
Oh, see, here's the thing. I'm not in with the rest of the 99%ers memes and all of that. I'm wanting to figure out how best to maximize my chance of winning.
So
with that said,
okay.
With that said, we're doing more memes and more treasure chests. So let's increase dark matter. We'll add more percentage points to a higher probability of dark matter hunts being in it, because I love me some dark matter hunts.
That's I'm maybe used to enough dark matter hunts from trigger seeds, so I'm safely say I like it to be optional. You know what I would do? Just increase the chances of Rydia showing up as starting character. That I want to tinker even more, because more Rydia, more Blarg possibilities. And believe you me, I like Blarg.
I have come to really appreciate Rydia more and more. I have a friend that I'm helping through his very first playthrough, playing Final Fantasy IV, and he has already just fallen in love with the Rydia character. He just got Cecil as a paladin, and he's like, Rydia is his favorite character so far in the game. So I'm trying not to spoiler what ends up happening to the game for him, but in watching him play the game, I have a newfound appreciation for the child who has absolutely done amazing things when you think about what she does in the game.
Yeah, I do love Rydia through the vanilla game. I have a very different opinion of her though in terms of the randomizer, and mostly it's more of a reminder than anything that a lot of the power that she has, or lack thereof sometimes in this game, is due in part of kind of kind of the event-driven. When she learns the spells that she does, like so you like in vanilla for vanilla Mom Bomb, you have zero access to the level 2 elementals. And the next strongest thing she learns is at level 26, which at that time you're not typically gonna spend that time overgrinding just to learn one spell to make the Mom Bomb fight slightly easier. That just isn't going to happen. And a lot of the power really is gated by the vent, the just doing dwarf castle. There's just so much. It's just there's just a lot of power that Viridia gains, and a lot of time, a lot of runners for the randomizer, they kind of skip. They like skipping dwarf, mostly because, and typically it's because not one of the things is Viridia's not in the party, so there's lots of incentive to do it, to try to get more power onto her. So it's one of those things where the scripted vanilla events for Viridia often reminds you where Viridia's power really comes from, at least for kind of like the mid game. This looks like this party looks on surface pretty comfortable. Should be good enough for power overwhelming. Don't even have to do Fru and Friends, but would save a lot of time doing some of that just to just take out Z without having to use so much power.
Yeah, we did see that Edge, you mentioned that slight invulnerability phase right at the start of the Zeromus fight. Edge unfortunately burned through one of the darts, trying to use that a little early.
Yeah, there's a delay in the dart throwing, but for Edge, with his natural agility, is pretty quick. So, the thing about commands and spells with that have a delay. The spells always have not all spells, but many spells have a delay. That delay gets reduced by agility. So if a character has more agility, their spells are going to eventually cast faster than they normally would. So, and the spell anyone really cares about when it comes to being taking their sweet time is our favorite rock throwing spell, Meteor. That takes the longest of anything, and having significant amount of agility makes that spell go zoom. So, and although that doesn't mean that you want to have really equipped with a heroine robe, though. Just to point out, because the heroine robe has that secondary effect of making her less of a mage and more of a berserker. So, yeah, things like if you cursed a Fu in this fight, those nukes wouldn't be as potent as we see in this fight.
And in the meantime, I think we just threw kind of not worried about only focusing on reflex strats. We're now zerking up our edges and just going to town, just maximize damage output.
Yeah, so oftentimes when you're doing hybrid strats through a Z fight, it still goes pretty fast. Double nuke with a white with two berserkers at pretty decent levels. The fight is generally a breeze. Outside barring a kind of like a big bang into rocks phase, which is can be devastating because sometimes that big bang doesn't leave enough HP to survive rocks. The HP to genuinely survive rocks is like 1,055 because of how the damage randomization is capped a little bit. it's interesting how the game does it, but the suffice to say, it's the range of like nuke or mega nuke isn't as high as you would think, surprisingly.
And we're moving right along through this, so I think we're approaching phase 3 with Meteo. Yep, there we are, Rocks Fall.
It's always a good sign, and of course, the shaking is all we need to know. Z's did. So, sometimes it's a funny thing that I always find that the rocks phase is the most calming of phases, strangely enough.
Yeah, normally it's supposed to be the final phase, like, oh no, he's pulling out his hard-hitting spell that, is mythical in the game, but once you know that's the end, you feel all right.
So, GG's to Lord Goober for completing this seed. Doing a lot of extras on the way. I mean, there's no shame in trying to do some more comfortable things, because you need more loot. Need more, sometimes you need more power at that moment. It's a thing. I mean, as you race, you'll get more comfortable doing fewer of these things, and and I'll shave times oh so slightly, and sometimes enough. Sometimes it's enough.
And it sounds like we are now joined by Lord Goober. GG's. Hello?
Don't think we've heard anything yet. Could be some issues with the equipment. It's nothing. These things happen. I shouldn't probably give it a little bit more time. May need to turn on or off the microphone. Because sometimes there might be a switch, or maybe because I think maybe needs to reconnect. That also happens. Not everything goes perfectly on Discord. That is for sure.
Well, in the meantime, yeah, to summarize that seed, it was just fast. But there we go.
Hey, Chihuahua. Why did my net decide to just cut out? Strange. Okay. But, oh my lord, what a seed.
Yep, it was certainly one of those seeds that I think once you found the line, it ended up being pretty easy, but it took a little bit to get there.
Yep, so I saw that Andrew Dave won, so I'm assuming he found the race really quickly. But what can you do when you got two foos?
Yeah, or two edges for that matter.
Yeah. So holding out for the Cecil, he came in too late. But definitely, I thought I routed decently, but then Rosa, hero, and no agility manipulation. Yeesh.
Yeah, I think NG Dave was looking for a cursed ring towards the end, because for that very concern. Although, he won kind of with the skin of his teeth. So he didn't have much to anchor with. So kind of went quickly. So that no, that was his choice. He had, you went kind of a different route. Try with more safer levels, you gave and really comfortable levels for that Z fight. How generous did you think the seed was for you outside of the characters?
Honestly, I thought it wasn't bad. I mean, the bosses weren't horrible. I saw the sparkle up at the top of tower, and that's why I went and did the whole rest of the fate of the underworld first, because I wanted to get microwave going, and then you saw I prepped that agility on that edge to get that star veil off, just in case it was Blarg and it was a counter Blarg. So, but you saw how quickly that got melted. But that's why you saw me take those random chests on the way down on the LSC. I was looking at that point for either a ninja hat or a crystal ring, something to get, so I didn't have to burn so many sirens at the end to get her to 24. Like everybody says, Rosa's great. In any other C hero, she's a horrible hero. But beyond that, I thought decent seed, not a bad set of bosses all around. It was fairly generous on the KMs, as you saw. Didn't have to go up Zot, didn't have to do music. Barely had to touch the LST. Other than that, I thought wasn't a bad seed. I just probably could have run it a little cleaner, but that is what it is. I'm new to the streaming and the live racing bit, so experience is there.
And I mean, that's part of what these community races are for, is a little bit of practice against live competition, especially as we're getting ready to go into the tournament season, right?
Yeah, considering. Now, quick question on the restreaming side, did it look like it seemed like once I was about going into the Baron, I started seeing that I was beginning to lose frames. Was I breaking up a bit on the stream side? Because I saw my OBS go into the red a couple times while I was doing the race.
You know what? I think that's something that we can answer offline. Talking with with Xenocat and the rest of the streamers. It might have been a little bit, but I'm sure we can take that offline and try to help you out more with that. But any other comments about the seed itself?
No, I don't think so. Actually, yes, there is one. The trap chest in this seed sucked. And you saw me take all sorts of random trap chests just trying to find something. One of my edges went into that Z-Vite with double long blade. The other had Masa Ninja. That's how bad the trap chests were. I think that pretty much covers it. Generous bosses, not so generous treasure.
Yeah, I think K-Trap, for all the generous things we get from Cecil Burr or best stat sticks, you're not with edges on your team. You always need a pair of good Hanzo steel, and it's hard to, it's what I think it's been said earlier. When you have a second edge, you are sometimes you need to be having a generous kind of dose of Hansa Steel to kind of justify, other than outside of having a bunch of darts to throw, which would be the alternate term, because if you have a good set of Hansa Steel, it's better to have it on like one edge and then have the other one just throw the kitchen sink at them. That's the kind of the usual thing where you don't have a good enough set of Hansa Steel for a second edge.
Yeah, I realized how much I was going to have to grind. I would have gone in with an edge on that lightsaber Cecil. I would have taken that Cecil out of Baron, and I realized how many sirens I was going to burn. Because that Cecil was there, I believe, at Baron Castle, right as you're going in the go mode. And that's the scene, and I think that's about all I got for it. So I am going to go ahead and let you guys go and have you guys do the final wrap up.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Maybe I'll race. Yep, maybe I'll race tomorrow's community race. Who knows? But have a good evening.
Excellent. Thank you so much to Lord Goober and to NG Dave for running this particular community seed. Fantastic showcase of the 99 percenters. Quick shout out just as well to everyone else behind the scenes doing all the work behind the scenes. We have, of course, Sheep Launcher with the trekking, and Xenocat with the restream. Commander Leonhardt is, of course, the 99 percenter community club leader, so big shout out to him. And to my co-commentator, Deathlike. Always a pleasure working with you, man.
That was a lot of fun, and I think we're going to send you off to Possum Morpheus, who is running a potion party seed. There's two different seed flags of the upcoming league, which is a team-based league, which is a kind of a unique league this time around, and obviously, and as Lord Goober alluded to, there is a community race tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern time. I don't remember time. We're still adjusting to the new times, but definitely tomorrow. There's also a Pink Puff League on Thursday. I think also at 8 p.m. Eastern, I think. And Community Race on Friday, which is commonly at 10 p.m. Both community races will be featuring the second flag set, which is the Elixir Party, I think. So, which is a different, more blend of community previous race league flag sets kind of combined. So, worth looking at, and hope you all join for that. So we'll be sending you off, and hope you all have a good night, and see you all next seed.